that. I'm going to share the screen again. So I'm really happy today to introduce Dr. Helene Bradley, who's going to be doing the presentation today on Charles Bonnet syndrome. Dr. Bradley started with us when she was 10 years old, and she's been with us over almost 30 years, or over 30 years now, 34 years, a very long time. And we're so privileged to have her as part of the staff here at Insight. Dr. Bradley also has a private practice in West Warwick called Victorian Eye Care, where she does general optometry and all that kind of stuff. And then she also travels around the state to nursing homes to provide eye care services to folks who can't get out into the community and get to her private practice. So, and she's also a member of the National Guard and has been very active through COVID and all of that kind of stuff. So we appreciate her taking the time today to speak with us all about Charles Bonnet syndrome. And as I said, when Dr. Bradley's done, then Doreen will come up and talk about her experience. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. So Charles Bonnet syndrome is very common in people that have visual impairment. So I'm going to talk today about what it is and how it started. Chris, I'm pressing the button, nothing's happening. Chris, pay attention to me. Chris, over here. Chris, get Chris. Chris, nothing's happening. Technical difficulties already. Look, I'm pressing, right? You said to press this. See?
Should be there. Let's see. Sure. There we go.
Okay. How come that's there? Okay, great. So the this guy back in 1938 first started to call it Charles Bonnet syndrome, and he noticed it was in people that were elderly and visually impaired, but they were mentally normal, so they had no psychosis at all or anything that was affecting their mental status. So you see these things when you're wide awake, and they're harmless. So the first case was described by Charles Bonnet, and that's why it's called Charles Bonnet syndrome. His grandfather started to see visual hallucinations after he had cataract surgery and his vision deteriorated from whatever. And he would see carriages or tapestries, all these weird things in his vision. So the prevalence is really not that high in people that are visually impaired. Okay. But it mainly is because probably people don't want to tell their doctors that they have this because they think that they're crazy. And the most important thing is to realize you're not crazy. So what happens is the brain sees things, right? And then it goes back to the occipital lobe. Somehow the images get scrambled up if you're visually impaired. So your brain fills in with images. So no one really understands what happens, but so your eye sees it, it gets scrambled up in the back of the eye, and then your brain interprets it as images. It's sort of like memories that the brain has. It usually happens when you're doing nothing, like watching TV or just maybe reading a book. You're not really active. And it usually occurs at night. Let's see. Most common reason is for central vision loss, like macular degeneration, but people with glaucoma, with side vision loss also experience it, and optic nerve problems. So it can happen at all ages, but it's most common between 70 and 80. And most common, again, with macular degeneration. It usually only lasts like a year to a year and a half. So most of the time it goes away. If your vision gets better, it goes away. If your vision gets worse, it tends to go away. Let's see. And it can be very transient, or lasts like an hour or so. So this is what it kind of looks like. I don't know if you can see this slide. So a normal person wouldn't have anything interfering with their vision. When you have Charles Bonnet syndrome, you can see animals, and that's called complex imagery or hallucination complex. Simple ones are more like patterns or zigzags. So this is a cartoon that I found that this guy walks in and he thinks all in the dining room, all his plates are flying around. The most common type of hallucination is when everything looks smaller. Lilliputian hallucinations, they're called. So things are smaller than normal. You could have partial or incomplete images. If you close your eyes, sometimes you can make the images disappear. So the differential diagnosis is mainly mental health issues like Lewy body dementia, anything that's a cognitive impairment you have to rule out. Parkinson's also tends to have the hallucinations. And you have to also rule out delirium or like overusing medication. Schizophrenia, you have to rule out. So you have to rule out every psychosis first before you can diagnose Charles Bonnet syndrome. So they really believe that Charles Bonnet starts because of visual sensory deprivation to the brain. You have to rule out dementia, epilepsy. Epilepsy, the seizures are more peripheral, like lights or constricting, flashing lights. You have to rule out intoxication from medicine or alcohol, any metabolic problems, or endocrine too, any neurological illnesses. So you have to do eye testings. Sometimes you get an electroiogram where they put the electrodes on your brain, your head, and measure your eye movement. So treatment, unfortunately, there's no treatment. Reassurance is the best, so you understand that you're not crazy, that you really are seeing what you're seeing. So they recommend whatever you're doing, do the opposite. So if your eyes are open and you're just blinking normally, close them or close one eye at a time. If the light's off, turn the light on, and opposite. If the light's on, turn it off. If you're sitting in a room, try to, and there's no windows, go find a window and look out the window. If you're sitting, stand. If you're standing, sit. Also, if you move your eyes around, like eye exercises, up, down, right, left, that can also help. So some people have to take anti-anxiety medicine. It does help, but it's a last resort. The most is just realize that you're not crazy. It's from your eyes. It's not a psychosis. Usually resolves again in 12 to 18 months. And as I said before, if your vision gets better, it goes away. Or if you totally lose your vision, it will go away. Hopefully that never will happen. Let's see. So again, you have to rule out all other possibilities of visual hallucinations. And that's it. So Charles Bonnet is a very annoying syndrome and very scary, but it will not make you crazy. Okay, because you're not crazy. Exactly. Thank you, Christy. So you're not crazy. Doreen? Welcome, Doreen.
Thank you, Doc. I'll have to turn this down. Hi, everybody. So although it is not funny, it's very funny how mine started. So I went to the beach and my friend said to me, don't bother me because I didn't sleep all night. So I'm going to take a nap on the beach. I said, okay. So I'm laying there and I'm looking at the water and I see these giant crabs coming out of the ocean. And I'm like, you got to wake up. And she said, I told you not to wake me up. I said, we got to move our chairs because these crabs. She goes, it's seaweed. I'm like, okay, so maybe I was in the sun too long. So then I kept seeing things like I would see tiny rats. I would see all these things, people sitting at the edge of my bed. One time it happened in this very room. We were doing yoga and we were on the wall. We had our hands on the wall. And remember the wallpaper that people that had vision, it was had a little design in it. Well, it had these doll heads coming out and I'm like, okay, this is so freaky. So it's a Saturday afternoon. I text Dr. Bradley. I go, Doc, I don't know what's going on. I said, but something's wrong. I said, I don't want to call my PCP. She'll put me in Butler because I think I'm going crazy. My mother and father had dementia. I said, I think I got dementia. She said, no. She said, I know exactly what it is. It's called Bonnet Syndrome. So when I Googled it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I saw. I saw all these things. So then my friends would say to me, you're gonna see something that's really there that you're gonna think it's Charles. I call him Charles. He's a good friend of mine now. I still see him all the time. So sure enough, it was snowing. There was snow on the ground. I was going into my house. My son's girlfriend was coming out of the house. And in the corner of my eye, I could see something on top of the snow, but I thought it was Charles, so I let it go. And when we met at the corner of my house, we both went, ah, because we scared each other. So my son said, oh, you're yelling because you saw the giant possum walking on top of the snow. So something was really there, but I blamed it on Charles. And Dr. Bradley said, and it's true, if you close your eyes or shut the light or refocus your brain in some way that'll work, it goes away. But it's the craziest thing on earth. And the other thing is, I don't know if you know this, Dr. Bradley, but a lot of PCPs don't know about it. So I was telling my doctor, and you know how they come in with their little computer, and she said, I'm going to Google it right now. And she said, oh, this is freaky. I said, yes, it is. It's scary. But now that I know what it is, it's not so scary. And as I talk to clients, I hear more and more have this, and they're like, I don't know what it is. I said, well, I think I do. And sure enough, that's what it is. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, Tracy.
How long have you been experiencing this?
It's been about 5 years now. So it never went away.
For you?
Yeah, for you.
It never went away. But I do have macular degeneration, and that's gotten worse. And I still see them all the time. Not every day, not every day. But one day in church, the priest had like 10 heads dancing around them. And I mean, it's just, you just pass it off after a while.
Yeah, I didn't know, when Dr. Bradley said it was, it could be shorter term.
Mhm.
I have only experienced it with clients that had it for years.
Yes,
Yeah.
Really, and it kind of got worse or better, but
right.
it didn't really ever go away.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Happy
It's,
to hear maybe it's short term for
Yeah,
some.
for some, yeah. Not usually with macular degeneration.
Yeah.
mostly when my eyes are tired, I see more of them.
Yeah, so that's
And-
why at night it's more
Mhm.
prevalent.
But spiders coming down from the sea, it's just so crazy. It's just so crazy. But if you refocus your brain, and my way of doing it is closing my eyes and then opening them, or turning the light on and shutting it off. Any other questions?
Yeah, one question I have is that,
Yes.
if you have Bonnet Syndrome and you have age-related macular degeneration, putting dry eye relief in your eye, is that
Good
supposed to
answers.
do anything to help your situation?
No, it won't help at all.
I don't know why I'm putting drops in my eyes every day. It seems like that's what's causing a lot of my problems.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the drops, are they just artificial tears? What are the drops?
Sustained, complete.
Yeah, that's just for dry eyes. That won't cause any macular increase or visual hallucinations at all. So, yeah.
I have a question. Are you saying that just from mass examination?
No, it could be from any eye diseases. It's usually most common in macular degeneration, but it could be glaucoma, optic nerve disease, diabetic retina. RP, I haven't read that much, but I'm sure it can happen, you know, because
And you're saying it lasts forever?
it can last forever, but usually it's like a year to a year and a half in literature. That's what
Oh my God.
And then does it come back again?
it can. It can come back again. Yes. Yes.
I got one more other question.
Sure.
I do a lot of herbs and my mom had it for like a year. She did it for about 6-7 months and they went through all that. She thought she was going crazy, all this stuff, and it ended up being that. And I asked her doctor about eyebrows. It's an herb that you put in and it either prevents supposedly cataracts and macular and all this other stuff. You know, if you do it, it's an eye wash, but it's an herb, you mix it with distilled water and I use it like a couple of times a day just to prevent. Do you ever hear of that? Or, and he said it wouldn't be bad. He said he did, but there's no scientific.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would help. I wouldn't think it would help because it's really how the brain is interpreting what's happening in the retina, the macula, or the rest of the retina. I wouldn't think so, because if it's a wash, it wouldn't penetrate into the eye. So I wouldn't think so, no. But I mean, for dry eyes, it would definitely help with corneal, relief.
It stings, it's to get the blood vessels
Moving. Yeah, I still don't think it would get to the back of the eye. No, I really don't. You had a question right there. Hi, Joan?
Yeah, I see mine is pretty for little people. Sometimes they even have a grocery cart and they walk in front of me, but it's always in the daytime. I have mine only when I'm usually outside in the broad
Right,
daylight.
yeah.
And I've never had them at night. The only thing I'm having at night, which I did connect to what was going on with my eyes, because I have such vivid, war-torn eye nightmares. Really, truthfully, they're real nightmares.
Oh, wow. How
And
scary.
it's all about war. So I quit TV.
Yeah.
I gave up the news and I went to music, and it has helped. And anybody who's dealing with, I blamed it on the Charles Bonnet,
Not the nightmares, wouldn't it be?
not the nightmares. So it is the television and it's my mind.
Yes.
So if my mind's doing that, I can imagine what Charles Bonnet, I'm very lucky that mine happens at Charles Bonnet in the daytime and it's pleasant. Oh, I'll look at you and you have a veil on you, a beautiful little mini pastel. You have I don't see any clothes. I don't see the body. I see this sheet of flowers on people. But the other thing that has occurred, and maybe it's not part of Charles Bonnet, is that if I'm having an intense conversation with somebody, like, sitting face to face and we're talking, maybe we were talking about what's going on in the world, which I gave up. I did give up. Their face becomes so grotesque that I don't want to look at them, but I don't want to be rude. It's like, is that part of the Charles Bonnet?
It definitely is, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now that I know that it is that, and that Charles Bonnet can become a friend of mine because he's given me some lovely pastels. And I will look at that part of it, and I get it when I go outdoors in the bright
Right, yeah,
Ah.
so
Yeah,
everybody's
right.
different, you know, like,
Yeah, and see, I have macula but I've had macula for years. I've seen two specialists, one in Florida and one up here. And Dr. Janesian, who is my retina guy, said to me, he walked in and he said to me, well, now I know what you're dealing with.
Mm.
So I took that to mean he's dealing maybe with it himself. But the thing is, I now, it's a relief to know that what the TV projected to me, you know, with what is continuously going on in the world, that I cannot watch it. It is not good for my brain or my eyes. So I don't watch that. I now watch them renovate houses. I watch.
I can ask her.
Thank you. You did answer though, you know, that the grotesque does come with the
yes,
Charles Bonnet.
yes.
Okay, but I will make sure I don't have any conversations with people if I can help it outside. And this will do it. And the little people are very kind. They walk with my daughter. I can never catch up with my daughter and the dog. The dog, it's a real dog. It's a real dog. Because she's very real. And so now I know, but you know, it changes your whole attitude. I was, what's going on? You know,
That's very scary.
they wanted me to go and have this test where they're going to stick needles all over my body. Because before Charles Bonnet, I had, and now I still have a balance problem, obviously. I can't walk without falling. So I just, you know, I said no, because at this age, truthfully, they would probably come up with the diagnosis that would just blow my mind. And I thought, you know what, I'm 87 and I thank the Lord I'm 87. I've had wonderful years and God gave me a good daughter. I mean, we're not always like sugar and cream. Sometimes we're a little sour. But you know what I mean? But we're mother and daughter. So I just, you know, I'm living with Charles Bonnet and I'm saying they don't really know the whole story. Someday they will. If I'm still around, I'll appreciate hearing it. If I'm not, I'll be in a better place, excuse me. But that's, you know, now that I know grotesque, don't talk to people out in the daylight when I'm having the visions, I call them, the visions.
So Joan, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you close your eyes or how do you make them go away?
Well, usually they're gone. when
Oh,
I
they go.
outside. They don't come in the house with me.
Ah, that's
No,
interesting.
because I live in an apartment building. So I come in a door, go down a hall, go to another hall, get on the elevator. I haven't seen them, they're gone. They're only there when I'm walking outside. I really have, I've had, you know, I have to stop and think about it. I really, honestly don't recall having them in the house. That's why I was wondering if my nightmares were definitely technologically caused. You know? So I gave that up. I can handle it. I'm trying, and it's a hard habit to break. Oh, I was a newsie. Oh, whatever you want to call me. I mean, NBC and CNN, Fox, any of them. I worked to one to these. Who the hell is telling us the truth, you know? And the Russian people are dealing with the same thing. So I really got involved. Yeah. And I think now I know how to deal with my nightmares.
Good.
But yeah, I don't see them in the house. I don't have them
You're very lucky.
at night. I was listening when you said that and I thought, I hope they're visiting me at night. I like seeing them in the day when I'm walking with my daughter. They're little people and they're pushing a grocery cart, you know. And it's the weirdest. It's I can laugh because it's, to me, with what's going on in the world, this is nothing, you know. I get my belly fed, my daughter's a great cook, and I go to bed and it's nice and warm and toasty, you know, and I think live with it. But I do want to know more, and that's why I came today, because I don't expect a miracle, but I feel more comfortable
Good.
now with myself.
That's good.
Otherwise they think them crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
right, yeah.
Well,
Does
now-
anybody else like to share?
Yes, I'm a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to everyone. I know I've always given care, so it's kind of hard on me when you're the caregiver and you're trying to explain to the person you're giving care that you don't see anything. And they're getting angry at you because they think that you're thinking that they're crazy. And you're not thinking that, you're just trying to understand how you can see a cat over there or a bear here or samurai or warriors coming at you, pulling out their swords. I can't see that. So I'm probably thinking it's part of maybe the vascular dementia, but you just said that you ruled out any of the three, the Lewy body, the Alzheimer's, and the vascular. So you ruled out the three of those. So it's kind of hard for me as a caregiver to understand, how do you get the person, how do you convince the person that it's part of what's going on in their head? And it's not actually happening, and they're getting angry with you for no reason. How do you handle that situation? And they close now and say, I'm not talking to you anymore, because you don't believe me, and you're trying to tell them it's not really happening. So how do you handle that situation?
Well, that's a very good point, because when it first started happening, I would be in the living room watching TV with my husband, and I'd see something like mice or bats running around the house or flying around the house. And he would say, "What is going on with you?" I don't drink, so he knew I wasn't drunk. He said, "You better look into it." So once I explained it to him, and that's the thing, you have to explain what it is that you have. And then you can say, okay, so you're dealing with Charles Bonnet, and it's easier.
Just make sure whoever you're taking care of does have an diagnosed eye disease. So ask them if they have macular degeneration or some other.
The only thing that we know, they told us that his vision was destroyed by diabetes.
Okay, that would also, yeah, so he does, as long as he's visually impaired, you want to make sure you're not saying that you have Charles Bonnet syndrome.
I didn't know about that, yeah.
Yeah, so if they're not visually impaired. So diabetic retinopathy
Right.
definitely can cause
Oh, okay.
Charles Bonnet, yeah. So then you're confident in, explaining it, but you don't want to you have to rule out everything else,
So it's not gonna do with the vascular dementia, it's just.
Well, no, it should, unless, does the person have vascular dementia? So, yeah, because a doctor really has to decide what's
They
going.
don't even know, like you say, they don't even
Yeah.
know the CBS, they don't know
Mm,
anything about.
Yeah.
Diabetes.
Yeah,
Everything is diabetes.
yeah.
right.
So, yeah, so it most likely is Charles Bonnet, but 100% I can say that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Sandra.
My name is Sandy, by the way. My dad had macula, and he did have hallucinations, but he didn't tell me.
He was
And he had
embarrassed,
a-
probably.
Mm.
I wonder.
He called me and he was yelling, so I ran down the stairs to his place, and sure enough, he said, "What are we gonna do with all the water? How are we gonna get rid of this? You see it? Can't you see it?" And he could tell by the look on my face. And it just so happened that soon after that, we had an appointment. He was getting the injections like I get now. And it just so happened that the doctor started talking about it. So when I left, I said, "Daddy, that's it. You can tell me." Never told me a thing after that, because he was so afraid. He's
Mhm.
in his late 90s, something like that. He's really active and playing golf and all this other stuff. But don't you dare tell anyone. He told me, "That's between you and I." And I wanted to know if I have what he had and my uncle had. So we know it's hereditary too. It could be an influence. Is there any chance that the vaccines that I've received over the years, 3 different kinds, do they not, now I've heard that it's in other places, I thought it was just macula, so I was incorrect. But could any of those, Avastin, Eylea, Bovue, I've had them all, can they contribute to this?
No.
Oh, good.
Yeah, definitely not, no.
So the deer I saw walking in the yard weren't really there, and I know it's Charles is living with me now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can have
Yeah.
them sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have them in the daytime.
All right.
I leave them out on the street, you can pick them up.
The only thing was Carl saw it in the daytime. So that's, I
Yeah.
think maybe it's different per person.
It is, definitely, you can't, it just, what I spoke about was just the most common, but it's not in stone that that's how it happens.
No one will know outside of this room that those deer were really running down my yard.
Yes.
But I don't want to tell them.
Right.
I don't want to tell
No.
them because I know what they're gonna think. I could
Mhm.
bring this and they would, okay. It's okay, Ma, don't worry. And, yeah, so that's it. I can understand why so many people don't share that information and then finding out
Exactly.
that the doctors aren't even aware of it,
No.
the vision people.
Right.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah, disappointing.
Angie, did you have a question?
I'll stand up. I'm peculiar, I guess, in this situation. I've been blind my whole life, but I had to have due to major glaucoma and blockages, I had to have surgery. I was 30, eye surgery, and not long after I, started seeing the like angels and cherubs and. I'm like, what the hell? I'm going nuts. I know I'm not on any medication or anything, but they don't give you anything anymore. They just tell you to take Tylenol.
Mhm.
So I called my doctor, like, PCP. I said, "Hey, I think I need like a psychiatrist or like a mental exam because it was scary.
Yeah,
Because,
sure is.
like, you have to understand, I never seen anything in my life. So and these things, it just, I blink and it would come back. It could be during the day or the night. It didn't matter. So she's like, just come into the office right now. I'm like, all right. So I packed a bag and I said I was ready to go to Butler. She was like, I was serious. I was just, yep, she's gonna have a rescue there waiting for me to go.
Mhm.
Because I would tell Peter that he's like, well, maybe like the anesthesia is still in your brain, we should go to the doctor, he didn't think so crazy anyway, but for different reasons. She's like, I don't know, you had the surgery, let's have a consult with your eye doctor. And at the time I had Dr. Bear, who was like an awesome dude. I miss him. He said, it's Charles Bonnet Syndrome. I said, what are you talking about?
Mhm.
I said, I'm totally blind. How is this possible? And he said, because you have glaucoma and you had major surgery. And he explained all the signals in the brain and all that. And he goes, it's going to change. The things you see are going to change. I see now like lights, different type of lights. This is kind of embarrassing to admit here, but if I can't tell you people, then who can I tell? Now it's a triangular shaped lights or spheres, like spheres, half circle lights. It's like a light show in my brain, and I told this to Dr. Cook when I was there one day, and then I went yesterday, and she just reassured me, you're not going nuts. I'm like, well, yeah, I have a professional saying I'm not going nuts. So I just wanted. It is embarrassing. It is. You're going nuts.
Mhm.
So thanks for letting me share. I appreciate it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you. Yes,
Um,
Janice?
this is Jan speaking. How do I find out about my brother? I knew that right from the beginning, but I didn't want to say it because, you know, I mean, that's what doctors for. Some of the doctors don't know what it is, child violence. So it would be nice if they have some kind of support group, it'd be good for my brother. So, you know, so that way they won't get scared, you know.
Yeah, yeah, got a good point.
I don't think they have some kind of support group or anything for that. Child
Not that I know of. Not that I can look into it.
Well, what do they call Bonnet? That's what I want to ask you.
Oh, Charles Bonnet syndrome. It's Bonnet. It's named,
So is it-
no, not Bonnet. It's named after the
that's his
first
name?
person who shared that experience or documented it. Yeah, it was in the 1800s. So it's, I mean, it's very, you know, through history, it's been there, you know, people, you know, then they linked it to visual impairment.
And that means they have to put that in your record, that child of Bonnet disorder.
Yeah, they should, it's a diagnosis that they should have, so, you know, so it's not a mental illness, so.
Does that mean the prevention gets Alzheimer's afterwards?
No, that's what the important thing to realize, that you don't have mental deficit.
Now, the Charles Bonnet, does that go away in a couple of years, they say? According to
Most,
people?
it does usually, like in, like most of the percentage of people, but it can last, like Christine and Doreen said, for, you know, forever or years. But yeah, in literature, it usually goes away most commonly.
But too bad they don't have a prescription for it, you know what I mean, for common, you know, like avoiding all these things. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, it's just how your, the image from your eyes get into
Oh.
your visual cortex. So your occipital
Yeah,
lobe.
but I never see anybody with a hearing loss. That's why I was wondering why the RP get that with the hearing loss.
Well, you have Usher syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a different,
That's a different category.
yeah,
altogether.
yeah, altogether, the hearing and, you know, the eyes. Yeah,
I'm
that's
glad they have. this
genetics,
because
yeah,
If they didn't know about it, they're crazy.
yeah, no, yeah,
When my boss first started, my mom got scared, they don't know what to do. and
yeah, no, it is very scary.
I
It's,
went from Doreen,
Yeah.
that's how I found out.
yeah,
It is
Yeah.
very scary.
yeah, you know, but you made a good point that, you know, perhaps I even should ask my patients that are visually impaired, like, are they experienced Charles Bonnet? Because I, to be honest, don't. Like, I wait till they tell me, but maybe I should bring it up so people are reassured that they're not going crazy. Yes, Christine.
Hi, for those of you that I've never met, I'm Christine from Services for the Blind. I work for the state, but like you were just saying, sometimes it's as simple as people realizing it's a thing.
Right.
I've had many clients, like probably 5 or 6, that over the course of time doing this, they've really been very stressed out and relayed those symptoms to me, and they might have had, like, you know, I work with primarily the older population, so I'm occasionally meeting their 50-year-old daughter who's convincing me, oh, she's got dementia. I know I don't know where this came from. I don't know what's happening, and everybody's panicking. And I kind of throw out there, well, she does have macular, and there is this thing that you might want to look into and speak with her doctor. I'm not a doctor, but check with the doctor and see if it's a possibility, because, and 2 or 3, I can think of, said it looked like small children in the room. So she was having very nice experiences too. She said, oh, she was in a beautiful assisted living, and she said, it's the sweetest thing. It's children running through the